Welcome to the Brain Alpha. Today, we're diving into an explainer that's going to completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about willpower and motivation. I mean, for years, we've been fed this idea that if we just push harder, if we just dig deep enough, we can achieve any of our goals. But modern neuroscience is actually painting a totally different picture. In fact, renowned neuroscientist Dr. David Eagleman suggests that relying on willpower is essentially a massive trap. So let's dive right into this and discover how to actually tame your brain. We've all been there, right? You make a super firm decision. You swear up and down, starting tomorrow, I'm eating clean. But then 3 p.m. rolls around, and if you've ever planned to diet but ended up grabbing a donut at the drive-thru instead, you probably beat yourself up about it. You think you're weak or that you just lack discipline. But honestly, the truth is, you aren't weak at all. You're just misunderstanding how your brain actually works under the hood. It turns out, your brain isn't just one single unified voice. To fix this, we're breaking this explainer down into 5 key concepts: the parliament in your brain, mastering the Ulysses contract, rewiring through neuroplasticity, delegating tasks to AI, and finally, systems over willpower. All right, let's jump straight into concept number 1, the parliament in your brain. First off, let's just go ahead and remove that guilt entirely. Your brain is not a monarchy. It's actually a lot more like a fiercely divided parliament. You've got roughly 86 billion neurons forming these competing neural circuits, and they're constantly arguing and voting on your actions every single second of every single day. On one side of the aisle, you have the dieting neural circuit. That's the part of you that wants long-term health, a fit body, and longevity. But then on the other side, you've got the junk food circuit, and it is loudly demanding the instant gratification of a drive-through donut right now. These circuits are literally battling it out in real time. So when you fail a goal, it doesn't mean your character is flawed. It simply means the lazy, instant gratification neural circuit happened to win the majority vote in your brain's parliament at that exact moment. That's it. It's just a head count of neurons. So, how do we hack this? Well, the answer is metacognition. And yeah, it sounds like a big academic word, but by simply stepping back and objectively observing these competing urges, which is what metacognition is, you stop being a victim of your impulses and you become the master of your mind. Instead of blindly giving in, you pause and think, okay, I see the circuit that wants to be lazy is acting up right now. Just by recognizing that you have multiple differing factions in your mind, you immediately take away their power. You are no longer your urges, you're just the observer of them. Moving on to concept number 2, master the Ulysses contract. Since willpower is essentially a myth that crashes the second your mood or energy levels drop, neuroscientist Dr. David Eagleman says we need to rig the game in our favor. This brings us to a brilliant concept called the Ulysses contract. It's basically pre-committing to a specific action to prevent a future version of yourself from yielding to temptation. It's named after the ancient Greek hero Ulysses. He really wanted to hear the beautiful, but totally deadly, Song of the Sirens, but he knew the song would literally compel him to steer his ship right into the rocks. So what did he do? He ordered his men to tie him to the mast of the ship and instructed them not to untie him no matter how much he begged. That is the ultimate strategy right there. It's all about anticipating your own failure and locking in your success ahead of time. And this perfectly illustrates exactly why we need these contracts. Picture this. On one side is your present, motivated self. You're planning that 5 a.m. workout, you're feeling ambitious, and you are ready to conquer the world. But on the other side is your future, exhausted self. It's 5 a.m., the alarm goes off, and that version of you just wants to hit the snooze button and go back to sleep. You've got to treat your future exhausted self as a completely different person who simply cannot be trusted to make the right decisions. So the crucial trick here is setting up the contract while you are still your present motivated self. Step 1, anticipate the temptation. Step 2, remove the option entirely. Seriously, if you want to eat better, go throw out all the junk food in your house right now so that eating it later would require a monumental, annoying effort. And step 3, lock in the commitment. Schedule a running buddy for tomorrow morning so you'd be way too embarrassed to cancel on them. Whether it's removing junk food from the pantry or physically separating your work laptop from your gaming screens, you've got to build environments where failing is physically impossible. Think about it like this for a second. Would you leave a giant stack of cash sitting out in the open on an employee's desk, install 0 security cameras, and just casually say, "Hey, please don't steal this"? Of course not. If the money goes missing, you wouldn't just blame the employee's willpower, right? You'd realize you created a terrible, totally unsecure system. Relying on willpower is exactly like leaving cash out in the open instead of using a heavy-duty safe. Build a secure system, use the safe, and stop relying on human emotion to do all the heavy lifting. All right, concept number 3, rewiring through neuroplasticity. Now that we know how to survive our bad habits by setting up those Ulysses contracts, let's look at how we can actively upgrade our brains. For the longest time, society just operated on these completely outdated myths. We thought, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and we totally assumed the brain simply stops developing once you hit adulthood. But modern neuroscience has completely shattered those ideas. The absolute fact is, neuroplasticity allows for continuous, real growth at literally any age. Your hippocampus is actually generating brand new cells daily. Contrary to those old myths, your brain is continuously creating new neural pathways throughout your entire life, provided you give it the right stimuli. To prove this, let's look at an absolutely mind-blowing piece of data from a famous study out of Kentucky. Researchers tracked 678 older folks over a really long period, and what they discovered was just incredible. They proved that continuous intellectual challenge actually builds a physical resistance to cognitive decline. Even if their brains showed physical signs of age-related damage, the individuals who actively challenged their minds kept their memory and their thinking skills sharp. But here's the catch. You can't just do an easy crossword puzzle every morning and get this benefit. To actually spark this neuroplasticity, there are very specific conditions. You must step outside your comfort zone. The tasks you do should actually feel slightly frustrating. Not so brutally hard that you just give up, but challenges that are achievable if you put in real effort. And above all, you have to avoid mind-numbing easy routines. Once your brain learns a routine, it goes straight on autopilot and it just stops growing. You've got to tackle tasks that hit that perfect sweet spot of being slightly frustrating but ultimately achievable to force those neurons to build new connections. Which brings us to concept number 4, delegate tasks to AI. Now, you're probably wondering, if I have to constantly challenge my brain with frustrating tasks, where on earth do I find the time and energy for that? Well, to find that energy, we have to aggressively offload our useless, repetitive tasks into a separate bucket. I'm talking about manual data entry, routine email sorting, summarizing 100-page manuals, or doing basic spreadsheet math. These are tasks that require zero neuroplasticity. Any routine, automated action that doesn't challenge your brain is a useless action, and it should be immediately delegated to artificial intelligence. Seriously, stop wasting your precious mental energy here. Because once you've freed up your time with AI, you can redirect all that energy toward the second bucket, beneficial actions. These are the heavy hitters that actually grow your brain. Learning complex new skills, deep creative problem solving, engaging in really challenging debates. And here's a brilliant little hack for you. Try asking AI to critique your blind spots. We humans get super defensive when other humans criticize us, right? But we don't get defensive with a machine. You can use AI not just as a glorified search engine, but as an objective sounding board to ruthlessly challenge your own thinking and force real cognitive growth. This leads us to a pretty stark reality for the modern age. Humans who seek beneficial actions will survive. Those clinging to useless actions will fade. Ultimately, combining your brain's natural biological ability to grow with strategic AI delegation is exactly how you are going to skyrocket your market value over the next decade. If you cling to the boring tasks AI can do in seconds, you're going to be left behind. But if you focus on pushing your neuroplasticity to the absolute limit, you become invaluable. And finally, concept number 5, systems over willpower. Let's tie this whole thing together and look at how you can apply these incredible insights immediately into your everyday life. The core philosophy of everything we've discussed today basically boils down to this: build the system and forget the willpower. Stop trying to just muscle your way through life. Remember, motivation is just a fleeting emotion. It changes depending on how much sleep you got last night, what you ate for breakfast, or how much stress you're under at work. But a well-designed system, like a solid Ulysses contract, that runs flawlessly on autopilot, regardless of how you happen to feel on any given Tuesday. So, I want to leave you with a challenge today. What is one Ulysses contract you are going to set up today? Don't wait around for motivation to strike tomorrow. While you're motivated right now, listening to this, go build a system that practically guarantees your success. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.